We're important, but not important enough. Nuclear test veteran family members talked to Newsnight about their disappointment over a promised sit-down with Sir Keir Starmer. Instead, they met the Veterans Minister today. We're important, but not important enough for the Prime Minister to meet us. The words of some of the families of nuclear test veterans who, back in December, had been promised a meeting with Sir Keir Starmer, but today instead met the Veterans Minister. Newsnight has been following the men's campaign for some time. The ex-British service personnel were forced to witness atomic and hydrogen bomb tests in the 40s and 50s. On Newsnight last year, the incoming Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, backed their 70-year fight for justice. They have wanted access to their own medical records held by the Ministry of Defence to see if the many cancers and other significant health problems endured by the men and their children were the result of radiation exposure all those years ago. Brian Unthank told us what happened to him.
There's a white flash. If you live to be 1,000,000 years old, you would never ever try to describe the depth of brilliance of this white light. You saw every bone, every bloodline, every sinew going through your hands with your eyes shut. A living X-ray. The next order, get up and run into the clearing. As you look down the range, there's this boiling, humongous ball of flame going up in the sky. There's a big, thick, black line hurtling toward you. It hits you, it throws you into the ground, it burns you.
Well, a report will be released tomorrow by the Ministry of Defence, which Newsnight understands will show that the medical records of veterans like Brian haven't been located and are, in fact, missing. Let's speak now to the co-founder of the Lab Rats campaign group, Alan Owen. He is the son of nuclear test veteran James Owen. And Steve Pearce is here too. He's back with us, son of David, also a nuclear test veteran. Steve was born with a number of severe disabilities, which he and his father believe were as a result of the radiation his dad was exposed to. Hello, thank you for being with us. So you were given a meeting with the Veterans Minister rather than the Prime Minister. How did you view that, Alan?
It's really disappointing that after months and months and months of work and his promise to John that he would meet with the veterans.
John Norris. John Morris, another veteran, who's
to not meet with us, to almost downgrade us to a junior minister status, to not find the time when the letter basically says, you know, you are important, but we're just still not that important enough for him to make time. And even a small amount of time would have gone a long way to just keeping that promise. You wouldn't make that promise to your children. So why did he not meet with us? Why did he downgrade it? We had a good meeting with the Veterans Minister, but it was so disappointing to get that letter.
And the letter you're referring to, Steve, before I get your reaction, is one that was sent on Friday from the Prime Minister, Friday just gone, and the veterans have shared it with us. It says, "I am pleased," said Sir Keir Starmer, "that one of my last actions as Prime Minister has been to ensure the publication of the narrative report into medical records held by the MOD ahead of the summer recess. I had very much hoped to meet with you in person. I'm sorry that this is not now going to be possible. I hope that the publication of the report will provide the clarity that you, veterans and their families have long sought and reflects our commitment to ensuring these records are made available transparently." Steve, your reaction to getting that letter?
As Alan said, disappointment. It was a promise made to us, and it was also made on BBC Breakfast last year. And we kept the faith with Keir Starmer. We kept believing that he would do the right thing, and that's after all what we're asking. Is do the right thing, keep your promise, and meet us like you said you would. So it was a big letdown, a really big letdown.
Now, this report, which is out tomorrow, which we understand will show that the medical records, which you have been fighting for, and all the guys that we've had on Newsnight have been fighting for, you on behalf of your father and on behalf of your father, you're not going to get them. So it sounds like, because they can't be found. What do you make of that, Alan?
Well, it's something that we were suspicious of for years and years and years. So it's a positive step forward that this report is actually going to finally put that to bed, that what the veterans and Brian Unthank has told us in the past, you know, I've got my medical records and my time at Christmas Island is missing. So if this report actually states that they are missing and they can't be found, that's a big step forward.
Why is that? Explain that, why that's positive.
It's positive because the government's now got to act on that. It's out in the public domain. We spent 7 months working with them for recommendations to come from that report. But unfortunately today, when we discussed the report, the recommendations weren't discussed because the new administration is going to come into place. So basically it's Andy's problem now. It's Mr. Burnham's problem.
Okay.
And we hope because of his relationship with us in the past and being so vocal about it, that he will stand by what he said and act upon this report. So it's in the public domain. Everybody can be able to read it. Everybody will be able to see that it's chaotic. And to say that the records are missing or not found, it just proves what the veterans said all along.
Okay. Well, I did talk to Brian Unthank a little earlier and asked for his reaction to this new report that's coming out tomorrow.
Well, I haven't really heard a lot about it, but my take on it is it's going to turn out to be a total whitewash as usual. My understanding is that there's no comments about the missing medical records, the compensation, a lot of other things. So it's been cut to the bare minimum, I think, and it's going to be an absolute total whitewash as usual.
If it is what you describe as a whitewash, how will you feel about that?
I rather feel the same as all my other colleagues, very, very angry, because each and every government from 1952 until now has totally, completely blanked us. We didn't exist really, although we went and did that dangerous job for them, for this country. We are nothing in their view.
Which is very sad to hear Brian say it like that. Steve, just explain to our audience why those medical records actually were so, you felt they were so important.
They're absolutely critical because certainly in my case, obviously I have conditions. If I could get my hands on Dad's medical records, which I actually have because it was signed off by a minister, but the relevant parts are missing, I'd be able to know whether Dad was definitely exposed, and if he was, to what level and what with, and that would then be able to start, you know, going through the process of getting some sort of, if these records were available for everybody, we could see everybody's exposure, then we could start equipping the NHS with ways to deal with these radiogenic illnesses, because it's not just the veterans themselves that were affected. I've been affected, my son has been affected, and this fallout through the generations is estimated to go on for 500 years. So this is not a problem that's going to go away as we sadly lose the veterans. It's getting bigger. People are having more children, and so the worrying goes on. But if we can get the information to know what they're exposed with and by how much, we could get some research started. Right. And that will be crucial for years to come, because the NHS needs to be geared up to deal with us, because as I suspect, there's going to be more illnesses, not fewer.
Okay. But without the medical records, Alan, it's being kicked into the next administration, so under the Prime Minister, you know, under Andy Burnham, essentially. Are you thinking, look, you know, there's no medical records to help us, so they're just going to have to give us some sort of recompense, some other way?
Yeah, but one of the recommendations was financial redress.
Right.
That we discussed, that there would be some form of financial redress, but it came with education and research as well. Andy has to deal with this, and he has to deal with it quickly. You see Brian, we can't allow these veterans at 87, 88, 89 years old to carry on like this, and for it to be kicked into touch again. We have to deal with it, and Mr. Burnham has to deal with it right now. He's been so vocal for us, so supportive of us, he cannot not do this.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, we will read the report thoroughly tomorrow. Thank you. I want to ask you, Jonathan Hinder, your reaction to the fact that the Prime Minister in the end did not meet, and he promised he would meet, these gentlemen.
Well, it's really disappointing. I can't understand it for a second why he would make that promise and not keep it. But I think the important thing is now that we've got a Prime Minister coming in who knows all about this issue, has spoken about it very passionately on this programme only a year ago. So hopefully he comes in with a clear idea of what he wants to do. One of the things I've been very critical of this government is the number of delays, reviews, consultations and so forth. So if Andy can come in and say, this is what we're going to do about this issue, I think it'd really, start on a good footing in terms of restoring that trust.
A lot of people want a lot from the new Prime Minister.
Yeah, they do. But it's really a good microcosm of why Keir Starmer's no longer going to be Prime Minister. He just makes these kind of political judgments wrongly each time. And you can hear, from what we've seen, the way that people feel about it. I think a lot of people will find it hard to understand. And it's just a poor allocation of the time he's got left not to have had this meeting. And he does make these judgments. It's a bit baffling in a way when you hear it. All of us, I think, is sort of stretched to believe it. I'm sure that there's limited time, but nevertheless, it's obvious that he should have taken the meeting. So,
I mean, a lot of Labour MPs are saying that, but Keir Starmer thought he had 5 years of Prime Minister. He actually had 2, so he thought he had another 3 years. And to have a meeting that is as sensitive as this, dealing with potentially major commitments from the government, he probably felt he needed to be in a position to have a substantial meeting,
sure.
I imagine.
And you can make an argument like that. Funnily enough, that's the sort of argument the lawyers give inside the government. And probably he's given the same argument because he's got a similar background. Formally, I can understand the position. Politically, it's completely incomprehensible.
Well, can I just say, if the Prime Minister happens to be watching, these gentlemen are in London for a couple more days, at least 48 hours.